Norwich City are preparing for championship battle under the floodlights at Carrow Road on Friday night. Televised clash against Birmingham City, who are chasing the playoff places. And here is the team that I would be choosing if I was Daniel Farke. We're talking ahead of Thursday's press conference, of course, so this is ahead of injury news. But in goal, of course, Tim Krul, so good at West Brom and at Brentford the game before that. He's been crucial recently. Max Aarons and Jamal Lewis, all being well, stick with them at fullback. And I think hopefully, as long as Tim Close's runner's knee, as he's put it on Instagram, is okay, him and Zimmerman reunited, that's been the core of the defence, which has been so successful so far this season. All being well, get them back together. Likewise, I'd stick with the experience of Alex Tettey and Mario Vrancic in the central midfield roles. Would like to see Ben Godfrey get a chance in midfield, but maybe this isn't quite the game for that opportunity. Emi Buendia hopefully shook off a bit of rust in the 1-1 draw at West Brom at the weekend. Didn't look himself, but of course is coming back from injury, so I'd stick with him. Fingers crossed Marco Stiepermann's back. He's proved to be a really, really important player this year. Gets the best out of Teemu Pukki, so fingers crossed he's back from his injury and can start in the number 10 role. Onel Hernandez continues on the left wing for me. Scored both goals on the opening day. You may well remember, 2-2 draw. Norwich had to fight back twice in that game. Injury time equaliser from Onel Hernandez. So stick with him, and of course Teemu Pukki up front. Moving on to Birmingham then, they are 8th in the table ahead of kick-off, 4 points adrift of the top 6. They lost 2-1 at home to Middlesbrough last weekend, so they are looking to get back on track. Previously, before that, they'd only lost 1 of 8 games, so they've been doing very well under Gary Monk, and the whole season has been clouded by financial issues, which have put them under a transfer embargo. They haven't been able to do too much in terms of transfers, so they've had a fairly tight-knit squad. This is their previous 11. We'll find out in the team news whether there's any more change to that, but we've seen Jota can be a dangerous player for Brentford in the past, and Lukas Jutkiewicz and Che Adams both having good seasons up front as well. I'll come on to Jutkiewicz in just a minute, but he's part of these stats. In terms of their strengths, aerially they are very good. They average 34 aerial wins per game. That's the most in the division by quite a way. So in terms of the aerial battle, that's something that Norwich are really going to have to stand up to on Friday night. And no surprise, that flows into set pieces. They've scored 11 goals from set pieces. Only 3 teams have scored more than them so far this season. In terms of weaknesses, completely the opposite to Norwich almost. In terms of possession, they average only 43%, and that's the lowest in the division. Norwich, of course, among the best possession in the division, and that has a knock-on effect. Pass completion, they average only 61%, which again is the lowest in the division. So you can see that you've got almost 2 polar opposites set up for this game. And then key player, Lukas Jutkiewicz, has had probably the season of his life so far. Started all 27 league games for the Blues, scored 10 goals, 9 assists, and you may well know the statistics website whoscored.com. We use them for a lot of their stats, very good website. They average him as the highest performing player so far this season, averaging 7.87 out of 10 per game, so not bad at all. And as I mentioned earlier, his aerial presence is a massive part of how they play. He averages 12.5 aerial wins per game, which is by far the most of any player in the division. So he's a player that Norwich are going to have to dominate on Friday night.